All right, let's go. Thank you for joining me here on the Market Recap Show. Traders stay late and you're now late with me. So let's go, and let's go Packers, baby. What a great weekend it was all around. I was very, very lucky that I was home in time for the Packers game. I was pretty much missed all the other games, but yesterday was a fun day as well. Congratulations to the Bills. Congratulations to all the teams that won. But hey, this is a stock trading show, so let's go. We will have today for you a few names earnings. You can see there on the board. We have IBKR, and then I do want to discuss some bank earnings as the banks have been pulling back. Someone said wait for pullbacks in banks, and that potentially would be a downside push off earnings. Who was that somebody? All right, so it's a nice move there to the downside. I talked to my guy over here, Brendo, because his XLK that he likes today, one of two sectors green today, and the Qs were basically flat, but XLK as an ETF, of course, upside. Here's the Qs right now. On the daily is going to be the top chart. And good in the Packers stuff. Right there, 411, 412, trying to break up. There's XLK. I apologize. It's going to be hard to see this. I'm going to work on a bigger font for you. SMH right now, up that 1.6%, led by, it's AMD, baby. Look at that move to the upside as they break that 150 and say, see you later. We got some talk about AMD coming up later. I'm going to ask Brian all about these names, man. Where are we looking? Interactive Brokers right now. When it's out, we will have it for you. I have this right now. It's going to tell me when stocks report. We go like this. We go refresh. We start to load it up. Let's load this up. As soon as stocks start to move, we will have it for you. And also, this show brought to you by Benzinga Pro. As soon as I see news on here, I will get it for you. Uh-oh, it's out, baby. It's IBKR, Interactive Brokers right here. Q4 2023 adjusted EPS. That's red. That's a miss. 152 versus 155. As we go back into the downside right now, as we try to get some energy for everybody here on this show. Interactive Brokers Q4 customer accounts increased 23%. Oh yeah, bang. That's right. When we start this computer, I have to reload the bangs. Does that sound okay? IBKR right now. Let's just find out as I load up Stream Deck. You guys ever use Stream Deck? It's pretty fun to use. Look at IBKR. Down goes this giant, coming back into 85 and change right now. Come over to the screen quickly if we can. Fabian, $85. Watch out for the 200 period moving average, which is right here at 83. We'll look in and around $80 as right now IBKR, not much volume, but hey, this is the Market Recap Show. We're also going to bring you earnings plays every single day. If you're looking for earnings, man, wait till you see the show. When it's AMD, when it's NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, we're here for you live every single day, and that's why we're doing it. All right, so XLK is here. XRT, the retail side of things. Again, man, disaster striking in some of these ETFs. Now, calm down, all right? There's going to be dip buy opportunities everywhere in this market. For me, just doing this show more often, I like ETFs because then you're not picking out individual names. But there's a name in the retail sector that your boy really likes that he's going to be buying on any dips. And I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think about it. Then I'm going to tell you what it is. It's going to be 5, 4, shut up, Neil, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you said Costco, give yourselves a big pat on the back, but look at Costco with double screen. Good job, Neil.
I knew it was going to cost.
Yeah, but the only thing that I didn't know that maybe you knew as well was Costco is breaking highs. The retail, yeah, it's at all-time highs right now. There's Costco right now at 685, taking out new highs. So with the retail ETF downside, look at this. Costco saying, what's up to all my French friends? Napa. No thank you to the downside. That's probably not used properly. Shout out to all my French friends. Please tell me how to say that. Actually, my wife speaks French. I don't know why I just don't talk to her about it. You know what's a bad one today, Brendo? It's FXI. FXI is downside right now. It's the Chinese ETFs. Bad data across the world. Here right now for FXI, as we can see that one making moves to the downside. So again, we get IBKR, that misses a little bit right now as we are trying to alter this. We can do this after if you want. Brendan's helping me out right now. I want to say a big shout out to all of our guests coming through, and today's going to be the biggest and the baddest one as well. Mr. Brian Shannon's in the building. Okay, he's not in the building. He's on Zoom. I want to talk to him about it. You know what I really like? How about this one? We had our friend, Raider Trader. He talked about lithium. I actually really like the ETF, but looky what we see here with LIT coming through right now. This one is not lit. You hear that, Brian Shannon? That's what the young kids say these days. Man, this stock is lit, okay? But this one, lithium, I need a drink. Man, this should be vodka at this point. Okay. We're about, so a puncher's chance here. Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for saying that. No, we're having a good time, man. Traders stay late, so let's keep going. Lithium downside moves. Again, as interest rates coming into play, we're gonna have to watch out for lithium. Expensive to pull that stuff out of the ground. You need money to do that. Lithium, nice downside move. But you know what else has been downside, man? We've talked about Tesla. Down. Shout out to Brian. I know you have some ideas. Maybe let's talk about Tesla. Why? Tesla on the weekly right now is at the 200 period moving average. It's also under the 50 period. And if you just go all the way back, we're back down to 2020 levels right now. So if you were in a cave for 4 years, might not have been a bad idea, but you are now looking at your Tesla position and saying, okay, now what? That's how I feel about Tesla. Let's get some opinions on what we're doing with Tesla. US oil today. Oh yeah, by the way, so UNG, very, very interesting. This is the thing about UNG. I haven't traded it that much ever in my life, nat gas, but what I'm learning more and more about this is forward looking more than any ETF, more than any commodity that I've ever seen in my life. Like, people just predict what the weather is and they pile into UNG, they pile into oil, but then when things get flipped up, this is what happens. UNG today down 16% as it's trying to hit this 50-period moving average and trying to bounce off of it. Let's see if it can do that. Here's the run up, right? It was cold, man. The Midwest was freezing. I'm gonna ask my guy over here, Brian, what his temperatures are like. Here in Toronto, I tweeted it out, we got to minus 22. I believe it was Saturday night, something like that. That's Celsius, we aight. But look at UNG pulling back in today on now a forecast of lighter temperatures moving forward, which means they do not have to, again, fill up the supply that was just used over this past weekend. So UNG down a whopping 15%. No like. OIH down as well, oil pushing down. I heard today that the US struck the Houthis again there. So we're gonna have to watch out. I thought oil would go the other way on that kind of talk, but it is pulling back in again, as right now OIH back down here to 284, 285. All right, let's just check in on IBKR real quick. We did have their earnings report come through. Nice bounce for Interactive Brokers, down into $84, now retracing back up. If Brian comes on here and puts an anchored VWAP on IBKR and nails the bottom of this at $84, I'm out of here. That's the end of the recap show as I see him smiling in the wings. Brian has nailed for us, I believe it was NVIDIA, and it was one of the home, because he only comes on every Tuesday. I think it was KBH or Lennar, almost to the dollar on an anchored VWAP. So we can find out about it. IBKR, not a very heavy name for me to trade. So I'm not overly familiar with it. Here it is on Benzinga. We had Q4 earnings report today, obviously at 4 o'clock. 1.3% earnings missed estimates by 1.3%. Still got an EPS of 152 versus 154, so a little bit lower. Revenues appear up. So good on revenues, down on EPS. So top beats, bottom misses. We'll find out about IBKR and what we're looking at right now, but it is pushing back into $84. That's IBKR. All right, one name today, mRNA. It's Hydration Nation, baby. Moderna, a very interesting name. I actually did have a little bit of FOMO about this. Why? Because I believe in science. Now, whether or not, that doesn't necessarily mean that you just buy mRNA. Again, the technology is one thing, but I like the move back up to the upside. This is not a play on, we joked about this, COVID-24 or anything happening again. As I just heard Ramin sniffling beside me, and she denied it. But anyways, nice downside move. mRNA, I like it because they don't, I have a headache. They're working on cancer therapy as well. So you have to look out for that. I do think that's an important thing, obviously, as we work towards more technology in this space. And we've seen these GLP-1 drugs really take a hold of the whole market lately, man. Eli Lilly today, now I don't know if they got a bad report midday or what, but you could see Eli Lilly, me and Brenda were sitting here again talking about this because we're working on content for the podcast. And by the way, I want to thank everybody, man. Our podcast has been really popular. Great comments. I want to thank you a lot for that, man. Me and Brendan put through about an hour on that. It's real fun stuff. Maybe I can convince Brian to come on the podcast. He's been on a couple other ones, but often imitated, never duplicated is Trader TV Live. But anyways, I really like Eli Lilly, and I feel like pulling back on this. I'm already long, I've taken some out, but again, maybe I missed a story, but something in here today, in and around 645, a nice pullback down to 635 and bouncing off some of these levels. So we'll have to watch out for Eli Lilly. All right, what else did we miss? We always like IWM as a possible trade for relative weakness. And again, the reason why we like this, when you're looking at NASDAQ and you're looking at some of these other names, right? They're pushing or near all-time highs. Even the SPX, I know we've pulled back on bank earnings, right? But there's not too much relative weakness out there. If you believe that rates are indeed going to come down, which they are, the Fed has definitely hinted at that, not hinted at it, flat out told us that the rate cycle is here now for a downside move. But are they cutting 6 times? Now we'll talk about that. I know the CME Fed rate tool has changed over the last little while, but if you believe that rates are indeed coming down, I would look over here. Let's look at the IWM chart real quick. Again, small cap names will benefit from a lower rate environment. Not only that, you know which companies get it bought out more than others? Smaller known names. These names will be in the IWM. And again, if M&A talk is what we're going to be talking about, then I would look to buy some weakness in IWM. This is a weekly. Let's just look at a daily because you guys know the support on what I like to buy is actually, you know what, Brendo? I may start to buy IWM almost immediately because we're pulling back into 186, 185. These are good levels for IWM because the thing is, if you don't dip said toes into the water, sure, you might lose your big toe from all the sharks, but then you've got another one plus 9 more. So we'll see what happens here if we get bid off on IWM. All right, man, I'm not keeping guests like this for any longer. It's just not going to happen. It's Brian Shannon. He's ready. And it's Trader Talk. Let's bring him in. Hello, Brian. How are you doing, my friend?
Good afternoon, Shawn. Doing well.
Good.
Good trades I saw you had there today on the short side.
Oh, man. That was a good one on the short today. I don't know what gave me that feeling. You know what it is, Brian, actually? And I don't have the sticky note here, but I had Apple written down as the #1 idea for the short. Whenever I hear sort of negative stories about Apple, and then in the pre-market, I can see the bigger traders are starting to sell it even in the pre-market. To me, that's kind of like a bellwether, obviously, and we all know why. So I tend to do that. Is there anything in the pre-market, maybe this morning or something that you do in your routine that might have hinted for some of these downside moves that we got on some names?
Yeah, when I look at the pre-market, I don't really look to get involved, and I know you don't really trade pre-market. The only thing I really tend to do in terms of activity is if things are bidding up that I'm long, I like to sell into those because it's usually emotional money kind of chasing things. At least take a little bit off, and they end up being highs of the day that don't show up on the daily chart. But my routine is just to kind of look at the futures, see what they're doing, see if they're coming down any key levels, such as today. I mean, we nailed it perfectly. Again, the year-to-date anchor in the S&P 500 futures. So we're kind of, we've seen resistance at that anchor for the first week of the year. Then last week we touched it. Today we're touching it again as support. I think we're still kind of indecisive within an overall uptrend in the market.
I know we weren't sharing your screen there, but the reason why is I want to quickly, we're going to go back to that anchored view up in 1 second. Yeah. You nailed something there that we talk about often on the show because I'm, a hot-headed Italian. And I trade a lot of the time with emotion. You just mentioned emotion there. And in the pre-market, sometimes you like to fade some of your longs into those buyers that are sort of ramping it up because they're overly excited about what could possibly hit. I find my worst trades actually, Brian, are the ones that I'm emotionally connected to. Like today, I feel like I did really good. And let me actually sort of toot my own horn on my worst trade of the day right now. Come over to my screen real quickly here, guys. I want to show Brian something. So we had written down that we were really excited to trade some AMD today. The purple marks are the shorts, okay? As soon as it broke above this 151, that was really, really wanted to start the short. We took a little bit out, but then it just started going. I tried it one more time and then really got out of it for what turned out to be a relatively small hit. But look at this, Brian. Normally, I'm like, nah, it's gonna stop here. We get a little bit of a pullback. Oh my God, I gotta get in. And then I was like, oh my God, I gotta get in here and I gotta get it. Like, I've generally ruined my month or my week just by continuously shorting. But I was really proud today. Why? Because I let it go all the way up there to 160. And if you come over here, I actually didn't get involved until finally 160. That might have been a mistake, but I really like getting involved the second time because, again, we finally had a top that we liked and then right into there a little bit. For me, I call this barcoding. So I was wondering if you could give me a little bit of an idea there on AMD and NVIDIA and stuff that we can look at in the semi sector, because really it was the only sector that was up. It was the SMH and the semis.
Yeah, the SMH made a new all-time high by a full $1 today before pulling back a little bit. But yeah, AMD was clearly the leader. NVIDIA continues to rally. There's NVIDIA, I'm sorry, AMD. And what, here's something really pretty cool, Shawn, is that we gapped up, we pulled back to the daily VWAP, and then just rocketed higher. Right. Touched it here again, and then a little bit of a shakeout. And that's something I look for a lot, is when we come down later in the day and this trend is really strong, it brings in a lot of short sellers. And as it gets back above there, those guys get trapped and then squeezed into the close, as we saw. So real impressive strength in the semis. And one, if you don't have exposure to the semis, for tomorrow, I like Micron. I think Micron can start to catch up a little bit here. It's been stuck just in this little bit of a range. And here on the right, on that 30-minute time frame, let's clean all that crap up. On the left, we see the rising 20-day moving average, 50, etc. We're clearly in an uptrend. We are back above the anchor from this gap, the anchor from the high. So I'm looking really getting back above that level with a stop maybe even as low as right here, or as high as right here. Give it a little bit more room down here, but I think Micron has the ability to continue to move higher, and there's no earnings problem there. They're not out till March 6th, so those will look pretty good.
Yeah, no, is that something that, so I like to do that as well. Like today I actually went over and I shorted Intel because I noticed that it was weaker like that. So I kind of do like your look a little bit there on Micron. Okay, a little bit of talk here as, again, you've got so many great ideas. I do want to throw it back to you for a few more, but Tesla, I mean, honestly, I did that work, and I know you and I have talked about this. We've had Daniel Shea on before to talk a little bit about always to talk about the options as well. This is a name that I like, but I'm trying to throw in the towel a little bit because, like you mentioned there, well, you didn't mention it for Tesla, but we're under the 200, we're under the 50, and I said on the show today that I thought we could get up to 280 before year end. We didn't. We noticed relative weakness. Again, if Amazon, NVIDIA, AMD, Microsoft, Apple, they're all trying to push highs. Meanwhile, Tesla's going the other way. Do you have some kind of a VWAP that we can look at? Because Brian, for me, I like the story. I like the full self-drive. I like the story with Uber. And honestly, convince me not to buy this thing in and around 205, 206, because that's where I'm looking just as a simple mind like me. We got some nice dip buy opportunities here. It coincides back in April where we sort of had a top, gave it up. Then once we broke, we really ripped up to those 52-week highs. We supported it again down here at 2 bills. Am I crazy to think about a long here, or do we got to let this thing settle down even more?
No, I think that you're absolutely in a perfect place to start thinking about the long, and that is the anchored VWAP from the low of 2023.
Okay,
Looking at this weekly chart, that's
look
that
at that.
thick blue line right there. And you can see that it wasn't perfect all last year, but we found buyers in that area, and here we are finally down to it once again. So that, we've cut through every level of what was supposed to be support, crushing the dip buyers who buy the pullback to the 20-day moving average, buy the pullback to the 50-day moving average, buy the pullback to the 200-day moving average. That's why I always look at it and say we don't buy because we are, when we're below declining 5-day moving average. So the 5-day moving average is still declining here, Shawn, but we've come down and tested that anchor. And I kind of hope we don't get 205 because I think that will do too much damage in here. Instead, maybe we do something like this, and the next couple days we see that 5-day moving average flatten out. Then I think you're in a good position where you can say, okay, that is now the level I want to put my stop against. We bounced hard from that right on the open this morning. So that's a good sign. Let's see how it settles in the next day or two. But I think there could be a pretty decent bounce play coming in Tesla, pretty close to right here.
I actually just did the work as well there on Tesla. Earnings is the 24th of January. So like, can you
Yeah.
believe like I was looking down to it's the 16th. Am I even right on that? Or is it the 17th? Again, all these holidays got me confused. The 16th already of January. Am
Yeah,
I
all these
alone,
48
Brian?
weeks, right?
Or has this just gone? Like what? Like I was thinking about Christmas. I bought all my family your VWAP book. They absolutely love it. So that's fantastic. But are you a fan of hockey at all?
Oh man, I'm talking to a Canadian here. I know what I'm supposed to say.
Okay, good, because I want to show you something. Watch my daughter here, by the way. I am so proud of this because I just want to show you. So she's 9 years old. Watch this. This is called, so she's taking a penalty shot here. Here she goes. I have no idea how she knows how to loop around like this, as if she's like Austin Matthews. Then she goes bang, bang,
Wow.
right there to the top. And then here's the celebration. It gets cut off. A couple clotheslines in there and everything like that. So anyways, I know that both you and I are very, very proud of our families and whatnot. So I just wanted to show
That's
that.
a great play. No, thanks for sharing. That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't know. I have no idea why I just did that, Brian, but I did it and I
Because you're
called it up
proud,
there.
Shawn, and you should be.
Thank you so much. And it does mean a lot to me. I'm going to get emotional on it, but so we'll pass on that. Is there any other ideas, maybe something that we've talked a little bit about Tesla and AMD. You and I went back and forth a little bit about Micron there right now. We've talked about the market pulling back a little bit, you and I, earlier on a few other shows. Is there anything specific, or can I ask you one more question, unless there's something you want to talk about?
Go for it. Yeah.
All right. So I feel that people are very, very excited about the XLF. I haven't been happy with some of these bank earnings. We've seen BAC, and I'll just keep going on and I'll let you just get all set up a little bit. We've seen BAC really pull back from 35 bucks, man, into 32 and not a nice move. Almost 10% down over the last week for BAC. Today we see Morgan Stanley getting absolutely pumped. Was not expecting a 5% move on Morgan, and that's come all the way back down to 85. Very, very similar. JP Morgan's holding the top. Goldman Sachs today upside. This one's holding out, which is a little strange to me. But let's talk about maybe the sectors, because we talk about sectors here. XLF, I'm not sure this is the best ETF, Brian, to look at here, but this isn't pulling back that much. And you know why? Because 17% of it is JP Morgan. So are we in trouble with the banks at all, or am I just sort of getting a little too worried? Maybe they just outperformed heading into earnings season. We've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah, I think that it might be, Shawn, a little bit of buy the rumor, sell the news here, and we started with that today. These things got pretty stretched from 31 to 38. I mean, 7 points on these banks. That's a big move. And here's a couple of things. The anchor from this gap right here would bring us down to about 36 and a half. That could occur in the next day or two, and then we've also got this 50-day moving average coming up. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see 36.5, $36.20 or so. When we look at the shorter term time frame, I'm kind of looking at this of the last, so from the beginning of the year, that we've undergone some distribution. We've broken below that. Now if we're below 37.50, I think you look at the intermediate term as guilty till proven innocent, that this support right in here was broken. And now if it continues to hold as resistance, with that declining 5-day moving average, I think you've got to let these things settle down before you think about buying them again. They've got a little bit of profit taking to undergo, it looks like.
Here it is. Brian, you just said something that was, in my opinion, the best part of the book. And I'm just being honest. You said guilty until proven innocent. That was your whole thing about if you're above or below the anchored VWAP. They has to prove it. Let us see what's good. It's not about buying the dips. It's not about catching a falling knife into VWAP or anything. Watch the action around it, and that's what will give you the good stuff. It's maximum trading gains with anchored VWAP. It's Brian Shannon, and I want to make sure to thank you personally, obviously, for continuously coming on the show. It really means a lot to myself. I learn a lot from you as well, and I feel like you're a fantastic follow at Alpha Trends over there on X and on Twitter, or both, X, I guess, as we'll get that changed, because I still see it as we have a little birdie there. Okay, Brian, thank you so much. I got a little bit more to do on the rundown. I want to thank you for joining me. It's Brian Shannon.
Thank you, Shawn.
Ciao, my friend. See you. Have a great evening. That's Brian Shannon. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Brian. And look, man, I wouldn't be able to do the show without all the fantastic guests that we continue to have. So a big shout out to Brian. Go make sure you follow him at Alpha Trends. And just type in Brian Shannon. Again, another dude that's often imitated, never duplicated. Sometimes I type it in. It's like Alpha Trends 1. Nah, just go find the real one, man. We're following each other. Go find that. So this next thing is Shawn's tweets. Well, my favorite tweet of the weekend. We've already talked about it. We just did it right there. This goal, I still can't get enough of it. I'm over the moon with her, and I'm so proud of everything that she's been doing. But you know what's been interesting to me is this. Look at this one, man. The valuation gap right now with China. So every day I'm going to try to show you tweets that I think can change the game for you. All right? Not just random stuff here. Oh, this is the trade, this is that. Because you know what I'm sick and tired of, really? First of all, let's do this and I'll go on another rant. Okay, Chinese stocks have fallen to their cheapest valuation since 2010 relative to the S&P. Look at this thing, man. Like, here's 2010 all the way over here. We are now, wait a minute, blue line is MSCI China. Okay, so it feels like we're getting close, and it's relative volume. Oh, it's relative. Okay, so I was gonna say we've been down here before, but it's this move, the dispersion rate now in between the two. So as the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 continue to go up, look at India right now, man. India really eating China's lunch right now. So you have to look at big major economic powers, right? The population is there. India right now outperforming China on this index. This is MSCI. So I just want to bring that to everyone's attention. If you think, and I kind of think a lot of the China stuff is a little bit fugazi, meaning it's a little bit like people getting excited, means fake, but a little bit of like excitement about China into an election year. Alibaba today broke 70. I just wonder if it's time to maybe buy something. You could buy MSCI China. I like, who's ringing me up right now? 416, I won't say the number, I have no idea who it is. Okay, I'm doing a show, man, take it easy. Okay, the other one that I want to talk about right now is just quickly here. No, we're not going anywhere yet, baby. All right, just quickly here. We got a little bit more to do. We're going soon. Don't worry. But okay, I just want to talk about this because last year we talked about some things that could be laggers. We had So Creative, my guy over there, Raider Trader. I thought he was going to come up with a big name, Mag 7. He called them the Lag 7. And I think the reason why this year, I don't think it's rocket science. A lot of the trades that are overly popular can lag because it's just like groupthink. It's overly functioning to one side. Last year, information technology and consumer services. Again, this has Google in it, Meta in it. We don't need to talk about IT as well, Tesla and consumer discretionary as they all fall down. But look at utilities right now. I just feel like as dividends come back into play, these utilities, again, with rates coming back in. So I basically just tweeted right here, so buy the XLU. You know, these utilities are nice downside. And if we're going to look at the XLU just real quickly here, look what this has done since the new year. as well, right? Now everything's pulling back, but again, from these October bottoms, we went 55 to 65 and then stopped basically right here. When I say things that have been working will continue to work, we've seen that. We talked about that on the podcast. AMD, NVIDIA, I mean, those are at all-time highs. So those, NVIDIA pull back. So those continue to work, right? Why not look to something that hasn't been working that could moving forward, possibly the utilities sector? Okay, those are a couple tweets I want to talk about. There's so much more, but we are running out of time. Just real quickly, one more note here. I said this to Brian, and that is that if you're not confident in your trades, then you're really not, and by the way, we are also live on X. Shout out to the 18 viewers that are watching us right now on X. Huh? It's just there, man. It's just there. It's just Stan. What did you just say? I have no idea what this guy's talking about. Okay, so right now, just real quickly, man, if you're looking for early morning tweets, I don't have enough time to talk about these today, but we thought that Apple, we talked about China worries, right? China is such a huge factor for Apple. Selling, I think it's 20-something% of pretty much all of their wearables, the iPhone, all of that being sold there in China. So as that economy gets a little bit depressed, we do worry about China. So for me, right away, immediately, was Apple short, right? So if we come over here and you could see, I have to be careful what I say because we've talked about this on the main show. Not everybody trades Apple or anything like that. So I do have to watch out for this, but this was the biggest trade. So I can say it now, the show's over. This was the biggest trade here today, shorting into here, and we were just so confident. And again, sometimes we're confident it doesn't work out for us, but today on Apple, just into here, man. It made this high, and we just kept shorting against 182.60. So a bunch of outs, a bunch of shorts, and then it just started pay dirt, man. We came in into 181. So when you're short 182.50 and getting out at 181, and it's early on, that's going to be a good trade. We did short again until we were wrong, but Apple does pull it back. And then again, the proudness for me was being able to get out of the way for AMD. Then we shorted it again at 160, which was huge for us. We tried the Microsoft long. That was relatively strong today. Until it fell off. That didn't work. Alibaba, man, the short was a monster for us today on Alibaba. But think about the names that I just mentioned to you. Alibaba and Apple, they're both on the sticky note for the exact same reason. It was China weakness. And here's Alibaba. We really did well. Again, I apologize for some of these wicks on the chart, but here is the short earlier into 70. We shorted it off the 200 period and then boom to the downside. This was a very, very big trade for us. Look, no matter where you are in this world. Let me check on IBKR one more time before we go, because there was only really one earnings play today, and it was IBKR. So IBKR, and then we got to go. Let's just, IBKR down to $84. Forgot to ask Brian Shannon about that one, but IBKR continues to make a move down. Look, thank you so much, man. We talk about staying late. So those of you that did stay late, you're like, hey, man, he's missing something. No, I ain't. It's roll call, baby. Let's go. All right, one more chance for anybody to say hi to me in roll call. I want to do a big thank you to everybody that's watching, man. Still 1,900. I say thank you so much. As traders stay late, and if you are staying late, then you're a real one. So I got to say shout out to you guys. So let's go right now. Hey, Distant Identity. I've never seen you in here. You've been... Oh, where's the screen? There it is. You've been a distant identity. So thank you so much for coming through. What's up to Tom Trades? Thank you for subscribing. Streamlab says, what's up to Andrew Chow? What's up to Matt Carnes? You're always here. Bella Westy, a new one. What's up? Pavel, a new one. What's up? Anybody new? I'm going to say what's up. Oh, now we're starting to go. Mason Morris is in the building. What's up, Mason? What's up, Zion, man? You're always here. Shout out to Zion. Lala's here. You love this show. Thank you so much, David. Mad respect to you for watching. Thank you so much to everybody. Some burgers and fries in there. We like that. Thank you so much. Send them to the show. Thank you, Mr. Westermeyer. Thank you so much. You've always been here for us as well. Go Lions. I say go Lions as well, man. Shout out to the Detroit Lions. I hope you all the best until you lose to the best team in the NFC North. It's the Green Bay Packers, baby. We really like the NFL. What's up, Jonathan Torres? He says he's a new guy, so I say shout out to you. Jonathan Torres, that is famous Canadian actor who did... crap, he was in Trailer Park Boys. I forget his name. Anyways, you can look that up. Anyways, what's up, Henry Chung? You are welcome. Huh? Is it Bubbles? No, it's not Bubbles. It's the other guy, man. It's the guy that was the white rapper. Oh, what's his name? Jonathan Torres. I'll have to look it up anyways. What's up to everybody? Okay, yo, you're new. I can't shout out everybody that's new, but Jeff DeRoca, you got me before I log out. All right, look, man, we've been trading for 22 years. We're putting the show on live for you every single day. So catch the best trading show every single day at 8:30. It's Trader TV Live. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe. We trade live for you all day. We educate. Hopefully we entertain. We've got the recap show. We've got the podcast. We've got Twitter. We've got X. We don't got TikTok. We got everything else. Go find us immediately. Thank you so much for joining. I'll be back tomorrow, 8:30. Check you then. Ciao, everybody.